So it's actually essential. It's very critical, for us to know. So this is it. If you don't have an IT background, it's fine. We're not born with this. Most of us learn this. Some of us went to school to study this, and some actually then transition to take through self-paced learning bootcamp and others. But it's fine. On the group, I actually dropped the course for those who are just coming up on board, those who are not into cybersecurity, to just do that as introduction to cybersecurity, just for them to have the knowledge of cybersecurity. The truth is, ethical hacking um is not a basic course. Do you understand? It's not a basic course. So I would only lie to you if I say that without an IT background that you can actually cope. Because at a point, there are terminologies that will be used. So if you are not conversant with if you are not, let me say, if you are not into cybersecurity to an extent, you might not really understand. But it's fine. It's all good. That's why we are here for you. We as a company, we actually have our training plan. For those who are just transitioning, if you're just transitioning to cybersecurity, we can train you from a nose, to an intermediate level, to a level whereby, okay, you can build that confidence in yourself that, okay, this is my journey and this is how far I have gone and this is what I can do in tech, especially in cybersecurity. Just mention anything in cybersecurity, we got you covered. But for this training, I would drop that link again. That's the introduction to cybersecurity. And I would encourage everyone who has not done anything in cybersecurity to please take the course. It's just a foundational course. You get? At least you familiarize yourself with some things. One thing I always say is this. This training we want to have is on ethical hacking. And there's something we'll say. You don't hack what you cannot defend. As we have defender, we have offenders. Ethical hackers are offenders. They are the ones who find vulnerabilities in systems, in database, network, and others. So when they find the vulnerabilities, they inform the company. That's why it is called ethical hacking. You inform the company, about whatever vulnerability you have found so that they can work on it before bad guys get to know. Because if bad guys, that's the black hats hackers, if they see that, they will leverage on that vulnerability and penetrate into the system. So when they penetrate into the system, what do? They would, they will find a way to escalate their privilege in such a way that they can go deeper and do anything. They can change settings, they can lock they can encrypt your file, your data, or whatever it is, and this may actually affect the company. So for you to call yourself an ethical hacker, you must understand that if I'm going to hack into a system, definitely I know how to come out. If I ask you to encrypt a data, can you decrypt it? If I ask you to brute force a password, can you protect it? Those are the key words. Those are very, very critical. Those are the critical features of this whole thing. So you need to understand that. So when you understand what you're doing, it's not just about, attending a class, doing whatever the instructor is doing, but it's about you understanding what you want to go into. If you do anything on your PC, on your system, can you defend this? Can you restore it back to normal? That is what ethical hacking is about. So you don't break it. So defense is very, very critical. It's very, very critical and essential. So that's why I'm encouraging everyone, in case you're just transitioning, not even tech alone, but in case you're just transitioning into cybersecurity, you can just take the course. It won't take you so much. It won't take you so long. So just for you to have an idea, I've started using some words. I've used threat and others. So you may not really understand. There are words that are used in the secular world that are normal, and they have another meaning when it comes to cybersecurity. I've been using the word vulnerability. Somebody who is not into cybersecurity or who is not into tech may not really understand the word vulnerability. Instead of calling it weakness in cybersecurity, we call it vulnerability. So that's to tell you that, okay, there is a weakness, there is a flaw, there is a loophole in your system that you need to look after. So that is my okay, so that's what I just have to say in regards to that, to those who are not into IT, or those who are just transitioning to tech. So I'm going to share the link on the WhatsApp group. I'm going to share it. I'm going to forward it back. So for people to join. And as far as we have okay, I'm sending it back to the group. And so you can always check. And if you'd like to, maybe you want to learn, you really want to go into cybersecurity, beyond your current knowledge or something, or probably you're looking at, you're considering transitioning. We also train at Cyber Nation. We have different training beyond ethical hacking. We have general cybersecurity training that covers um some domains such as SOC. Our training covers SOC, networking, digital forensic, and ethical hacking. That's been tested. So we have a 4 month training. It's not free, but it's affordable. It's something you can afford. So you can always reach out to us if you would like to learn to be part of it. So that's all for that. So for those who are just joining, you're welcome on board. I can see that some people are just joining us. And we have an instructor that will be taking us on this journey, but it's currently not available. He's on transit, and is in transit, so I'm hoping you would land before this whole class ends. So before we proceed, I don't know if you have anyone who has any question or something you would like to ask, or your expectations, before we delve into this whole thing. So the floor is open. You can speak. Hello guys, can you hear me please?
Yes, we can.
So do you have anyone who has any question or something before I proceed?
I mean, not really. I can't think of any.
Okay. Any other person, anyone here?
Yeah. Hello. Hi. Good evening.
Okay, good evening.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. A quick one. Could you be kind enough to give us what should be the minimum system spec in terms of RAM, hard drive space, softwares that we'll be loading, what we're going to be running, and dependables, everything. You understand? Because I believe, like you said, we have to put in the work too and do a couple of things. So there are basic things we might have to install, maybe Python, maybe Java runtime, maybe C++, all those things. So that's my question. Like, what are the basic things, and what is the minimum expectation system spec that we must meet, so that we don't get stuck along the line and we won't be saying, "Oh, I can't run something, So that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, that's a good question. So if you are considering cybersecurity generally, at least based on my own recommendation and what I tell my students, most times I don't like to tell people that do this, and at the end of the day, while on the journey, they start having issues, maybe issues with their RAM, and most of the tools we use, as time goes on, except if you're into GRC. But when you are into technical aspect of cybersecurity, maybe you're into pen testing, or maybe you now decide to delve into another aspect, maybe network engineering and others, you would actually need a heavy tool. And for the PC, I always recommend minimum RAM, a minimum of RAM should be around 8 gig minimum. Try as much as possible to get 8 gig RAM. And for the storage, can go for 512, and I recommend SSD. SSD is quite faster than HDD. So I always encourage 512 SSD. You might want to try 256, but then, by the time you install maybe your VirtualBox or your VMware, and inside your VMware, your VMware, your VirtualBox, they are virtual machines and they are container. You still install Kali inside. Maybe you want to use Ubuntu, you install it inside. Maybe we have some of us who want to delve into programming too. Maybe you need your Python, your VS Code inside. As you are installing those ones inside, then you are allocating space for them and they will be consuming your space. Do you get that? So it's always encouraging and advisable to at least have minimum of 512 get, and at least your graphics, that's your GPU, should be, well, I'm not going to say, but based on technology, if you have NVIDIA, it's fine. NVIDIA is fine, or maybe GDDR5 upward, I think so. So for that, and your operating system, please try as much as possible to start with Windows 10 upward. Windows 10, because of the latest tools. Some tools would actually require you, to have some tools will not run on all those old OS. So they prefer the latest one. So it's at least you start with Windows 10 upward. I think that's fine. And ensure that your PC allows a virtualization. That is very critical. So some PCs don't allow that. So you may have issue when you now want to activate, when you need to do some settings on your in your BIOS. Also, ensure that the PC you'll be using has a network adapter. That's very critical. So, and why I'm saying this is because, especially for those who might want to buy PC from someone, sometimes you see people that will tell you that I want to sell my PC. Some of them, one way or the other, they might have been using the PC for a while and some features might have been gone. And if care is not taken, you discover that you start having issue with them. And when I mentioned network adapter, talking about, Wi-Fi, Ethernet, you have those options. You understand? And I mentioned earlier, ensure it supports virtualization. That is critical. Also, your backup, your power backup, at least 3 hours. 3 hours backup, at least. So if you are buying a PC and the PC is not giving you 3 hours backup, please don't go for it. It's more like TV. So I don't think you need a TV. If you need something like that, you would prefer to use your TV instead of buying a PC and not be able to use once there is power failure, whatever it is. So that's what I usually advise. I don't know if that answers your question, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. You've said it all. You're right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, somebody said, what are the days we'll be having classes? Okay, we are all working and having class during the weekdays can be stressful. So our classes will hold on weekends. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So our classes will hold then.
Is it the same time?
Yes, 8, 7, 8, 7, 8. But then if it's going to be 8, if it's going to be 7, we'll definitely pass it across. Okay, I said, what do you say? Hello, what do you say? I thought someone is saying something.
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm saying. Okay, so I was saying that our classes will be on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I hope that's fine. So from either 7 or 8 downward, just about 2 to 3 hours. Okay, so do you have any other question, please?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, so please, just a quick one. I just want to quickly make a clarification. You've mentioned pen testing like twice or three times now, and considering also that this is an ethical hacking course or class, so to say. So I just really want to understand because I've been trying to get this for a while. Pen testing and ethical hacking, are they exactly like the same? Do they refer to the same thing, or are they like similar, so to say? Like, are they just used interchangeably, or they mean exactly the same thing? Are all pen testers ethical hackers? Are all ethical hackers pen testers? Things like that. I just want to know if they are the same thing, pen testing and ethical hacking.
Okay. So in the corporate world, hello, can you guys hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so in the let me say in the corporate world, they use more of pen testing. You understand? If you mention hacking, there is this fear that it brings. There's this consciousness it brings around when you say you are into ethical hacking. Even forget the word ethical, either it is ethical or not. The fact that you have the word hacking next to it, you know the way it is. You understand? So in most cases, you see pen testing. Do you get? But then, let me say this. Ethical hacking itself, do you understand, is actually broad. Do you get? And it covers, vulnerabilities. It identifies vulnerabilities. You understand? Across. And pen testing is more focused on, simulating a real world attacks or maybe a specific systems or applications. Do you understand? For them to access the security controls and within a defined scope. Do you get? So most times we use the word interchangeably, but like now you cannot see an officer or probably you are stopped and they ask you, sorry, please. Excuse me, please. Okay, sorry about that. So you can imagine the way our country is for those in Nigeria. You can imagine if you are being stopped by an officer and they ask you, what do you do? You can't tell them you're an ethical hacker. They don't want to know whether what you do is ethical. But you use the word pen testing. Do you get that? You are a penetration tester. So you test for vulnerabilities. Okay?
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Do you have any other question, please? If there's anything you're not clear with, please, I would like us to ask questions. That's the essence of today. That's the essence of today's class. Want to interact. So if there are any questions if you need any clarification, just ask. Okay, somebody asked, yes, the recorded session will be shared. Yes. Yes. Okay, I'm here, please.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Please, I just need to clarify something. You said we are going to be having our classes 3 times a week.
Yes.
And we're supposed to have this class for like 2 weeks. I think that was what I saw.
Yes.
Okay, so will the 6 days be enough, like, to learn the basics of ethical hacking?
Okay, so 2 weeks. 2 weeks cannot be enough for you to learn ethical hacking. Do you get? But and there's always something, we at Cyber Nation, we believe so much in sharing our knowledge. The aim is to, we have people who have passion for this, who have interest in this. But most times when people hear about it, there's this fear that grips their heart, like, how do I go about it or something. So the aim of this particular training, these 2 weeks, is for everyone to have a clue, to have a clearer picture of what ethical hacking is about. We do some hands-on, but then there will be an advanced class, which is paid. So it now depends on individuals. If it's something you want to further, then we can discuss further. Is that fine? So we have a paid training. We have a paid one for the advanced class. So if you now want to go deeper, like we had this last year, we did it during Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I think we ran that for about 3 weeks. We extended that also. So after that, then those who love to actually go deeper reached out. Then we had our training, advanced training. So whereby they explore more tools, they explore, and they had a real-time project.
All
Okay,
right, thanks, ma'am. So I'll be looking forward to the advanced training. Thank you.
you're welcome. Yes, someone is asking. There is no. See, there will be no certificate for this free training, but there is certificate of completion for the advanced training. So after the training, we issue certificates. So the participants. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mo. Yes, this is a free course, so there is only how much we can be taught in that period. Yes, so it's more like this is just like an overview. So thank you so much for that, sir. So do you have any other question, please, before I proceed?
Yes, ma, I have a question.
Okay, proceed, sir.
So my question is that, like, for me, I have started building my career in the cybersecurity industry, like, 1 day and a half year, I can say. So what I do found difficult is that in the uh, in regards to ethical hacking or pen testing, is that what are the actual like skills or experience that a person need to have before he call himself as a ethical hacker or pen tester? Because some are saying networking, some are saying web application technologies or something like that. So I just want to know what are the uh, default, or I can say some the most, I don't know how to say it, but the skills needed to become a ethical hacker or pen tester. So that is my question.
Okay, are you asking for the skills to be certified as an ethical hacker?
Yes, ma. Because sometimes you will networking background, some cybersecurity background, but they are not calling themselves as an ethical hackers or something like that. So what I think I understand is that the ethical hacking or pen testing aspect requires or needs some like basic foundations or skills in order to be in the part of that. So that is.
Okay, okay. So let me say this. Even if you are if you're an ethical hacking is under cybersecurity, right? So, and for you to say you're an ethical hacker, you are required to have learned some things, the basics of cybersecurity. And as an ethical hacker, there is no way you will not work with you will not work with network. As an ethical hacker, it is required of you to document, because if you actually do your vulnerability and others, the steps and your discovery needs to be documented, right? That's what I call it,
Yes, of
troubleshooting.
course.
Is someone saying something? Hello.
Yes, I'm hearing, ma'am.
Okay, so as an ethical hacker, as an individual who is into ethical hacking, you are required. You cannot even skip it. I've seen cases where people actually jump into ethical hacking, and if you ask them some questions on cybersecurity, they cannot answer. The truth is, if you are going into ethical hacking, even the fact that you are into ethical hacking, you still required to do the basics of GRC, SOC, networking. You need all those knowledge because there is no how you will not do not work with network. If you want to carry out, maybe you need to carry out those things on an individual or a company, you might need their IP address. So when you see an IP address, how would you identify it? So you should be able to identify an IP address when you see one. You should be able to tell if this is a public IP or a private IP. So you should know if you're on a website, you should be able to determine if the website is secured or not. So how do you identify that? That is where the knowledge of networking comes in. And in your journey, let's assume you're working and maybe you're trying to scan and you discover a malicious you discover a suspicious movement or a device. You notice some activities. Maybe you are using your nmap now. Let's mention nmap. You now discover on while you are scanning with your nmap, you discover a particular website on your network and you never visited the website. So what do? So that is where your skill, that is where SOC comes in. And yes, and the same the same you as an ethical hacker. You can imagine when you do the whole thing you're doing, how do you clear your digital footprint in such a way that you are not tracked back? So that is where digital forensic comes in. Do you get? Does that really answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, you're welcome. So do you have another question, please? Okay, so I would assume that there is no question, right? Should I just take that? That we are all cool. Okay, so let's briefly have this session. So we are all welcome on board. And as you have all known that this is ethical hacking training, and on this journey, we are doing more of hands-on. But today we're just going to do basic of, let's just have a brief let's just go back to our roots just briefly. Then from tomorrow there will be hands-on. So please I'll share links ahead, link to download the tools that will be used. So we make use of Kali Linux. So I'll share the link to download your VMware and a video guide. Probably I will find a video guide on how to install for those who might not have the Linux active. Okay, so let's start with this. For the sake of those who are just transitioning, when you hear of cybersecurity, what comes to your mind? We just want to just do this briefly. So cybersecurity is the practice of protecting systems, networks, programs, and data from cyber threats. And when we say cyber threats, that's like hacking, malware, phishing, and other cyber attacks. So that's the essence of cybersecurity. So I've seen cases where people come to me and tell me that my phone is hacked. How can you help me? That's not what cybersecurity is about. Cybersecurity is basically practice of protecting systems. One way or the other, you might be thinking that okay, I'm not running a financial business, maybe a financial tech. I'm not a financial institution, so I don't have any issue with hacking. You are wrong. As far as you're on the internet and you are using them, you have database and you have people's database in your system, you are prone to attack. You are prone to hacking. And when we mention hacking, what does it mean to hack? So that is where cybersecurity comes in. So you need to understand that regardless, everyone is prone to attack as far as you're on the internet. So you'll be surprised that last year we had many records of attack, even on big companies. We heard of CrowdStrike, we heard of Cisco, we heard of, even though banking sectors would actually hide theirs, but they were also victims. So what happened in this instance? So when those things occurred, what really happened? How were they able to contain the incident? So that's where cybersecurity comes in. So when you hear of so institution has been attacked, what happened next? Everything will die down. So definitely there are guys at the back end doing the job. So those are the cybersecurity guys. It could be the defenders, the SOC guys. We have defenders, the blue team. So they will be at the back end trying to protect the system to ensure that they contain that, so that let me just use the word hacking or vulnerability that the bad guys are leveraging on does not go beyond where it could be managed. You might have heard of some words, ransomware, and you might be wondering what really happened, but then don't worry, we'll get to that. And in cybersecurity, we have a goal, and the goal is to ensure confidentiality, integrity, and availability. There are three. There are three. Please, I'll answer our question, please. We have three goals. We have a goal, and the goal is to ensure confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So we call it CIA triad. So when you hear of CIA triad, what does it mean? The C stands for confidentiality, the I stands for integrity, then the A stands for availability. I will believe so much that there should always be an authorized access to an authorized party. Do you get? So now what we say, what do you say? Someone is saying something. Okay, so let me explain briefly what CIA triad does. So the CIA triad, I mentioned confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So it's actually a common model that forms the basis of development, for our systems, for our security systems. So now the confidentiality means that as an organization or as an individual, you should make sure that data is kept secret or private. That's what confidentiality means. Either you as an individual or as a company, you must ensure that data is kept private in such a way that an unauthorized party does not have access to a data. So now let me take, for instance, something happened last year. There was a vulnerability discovered last year. So a website got people's NIN, and it was discovered that those NIN were public. That is where confidentiality comes in. If I have registered on your system or I have registered in your company, you are required to protect my data. On no occasion should my data be known. On no occasion should my data be exposed to a third party, no matter the relationship. That's why we see there is something called zero trust in cybersecurity. I could be Mr. A's friend, doesn't mean that I must have access to Mr. A's database. Do you understand? This is just like counseling. When somebody comes to you that, okay, I want to share my issue with you. Once they share that thing with you, it is expected of you to keep it secret. A secret is secret. So there shouldn't be any reason why it should be exposed. So the moment another party has an access to a private data, the confidentiality has been breached. Do you understand? So the rule of confidentiality is access to information must be controlled to prevent the unauthorized sharing of data. So there shouldn't be any reason such occurs, whether intentional or accidental. There's nothing like accidental. So you must always keep your people's data private. So and how do you maintain confidentiality? You have to ensure that people without proper authorization are prevented from accessing assets important to your business. You don't joke. I am sure some of us here have a business that we run, no matter either it is a small scale business or a large scale business. On no occasion should you do that, should you share that with anyone. So you don't even play with data. You know, lately they say data is a new oil. Yes. So you will be shocked by what people do with data, what attackers can do with data. If you go to dark web, you see data, you see people's data being sold for 100 naira. As low as 100 naira, you'll be surprised. So that is the effect of confidentiality. So when you breach it, so that's what happens. So then we have integrity. Integrity involves making sure your data is trustworthy and free from tampering. So the integrity of your data must be maintained, and it's only maintained if the data is authentic, accurate, and reliable. Now let me take for instance, let's say that your company provides information about, let me say, about your senior managers on your website. That information needs to have integrity. Do you understand? Do you know that people will be visiting that website? And those visiting the website for information may feel your organization is not trustworthy. If I go to your organization, I discover that, okay, what you have put up is different from what we all know. You know, that means your integrity is at stake. I don't know if I'm communicating, please. Hello, can we hear me, please?
Yes, you are.
Okay. And hope what I've been saying is actually clear, even to those who are just transitioning. Is it clear at all?
It is.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, it's
Thank
very
you.
clear. Join the lecture.
Thank you. Okay. So now when we talk about this integrity, most
Oh,
times
and the next time
integrity is,
we can, hello,
yeah, I can hear you.
I have a course outline so that the flow of the lecture will be okay by everyone. So even if you are missing anything, you can always go back and know what you are missing.
Okay, just hold on for me. Let me share. Hold on
Thank
for
you.
me. Though what I have is not okay, but then I will share something with you guys. Just hold on for me. What I have is not for this class, but then I will just share so that I'll see.
Are we still here?
Yes. So I want to share a screen. No, I'm not on my PC currently, so I want to share something so that you can relate with. Just give me a minute, please.
Good day, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Hello, can everyone hear me?
Siri, hold on. Good evening, welcome. You're welcome on board. Okay, just hold on. Hold on, please.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so sorry, I will share my screen. Just hold on, please. Sorry, I'm sharing my my devices or my phones are on screen, so we can just manage that for now. I'm currently not on my PC. Okay, so Siri, you're welcome on board. Okay, sorry everyone. I mentioned earlier that we have our instructor so that will join us. So that's Siri. So Siri, you're welcome on board. So you can introduce yourself.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah. I'm an ethical hacker and a web developer. I'll be taking everyone on the course, on the ethical hacking course. So today, I've been on transit, so that's why I haven't been here. I just wanted to come introduce myself, and then by tomorrow we're going to proceed. So, Miss Ayo is going to tell us everything we need. She's going to tell us everything we need. I'll be leaving after now because I'm a bit busy at the moment. But from tomorrow, I'll be stable. All right. So, let's enjoy the class. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Siri. Thank you for that. So, we hope to have you. So I can't use my screen. Yes, okay.
Yes, you can see your screen. I can see it.
Okay. So I was explaining the concept of CI. So I was explaining the concept of integrity. Just as you have it here. So integrity refers to data integrity. Sorry. We need security controls that protect data from being changed or deleted. So we must also ensure that the damage can be reversed if data is changed accidentally or by the wrong person. So in this essence,
Right. Remember again, the concept is if I want to send out
okay, so for this integrity now, so we need to check the authenticity of your data and ensure that it has not been changed. That's the essence of integrity. So if someone is sending, let's say that you are sending a mail to a third party, or let's say a mail is coming from the HR to the who do I call it? Okay, let's say to the accountant. The mail is expected to be the same. So if accountant receive the email, let's say an email comes from the CEO of the company down to the HR, and HR needs to pass it across to the accountants. It is required of that particular file or whatever it is to be in the same state. So if there is any reason for anything to change, it must be known. So in this case, you and I need to be very, very observant. So I'm going to use let me use I'm trying to find a case, but then I'm able to remember. Oh, okay, I think it was a bank that had the issue. I think so maybe a client received a mail, or a client received a document, and on the document it was observed that okay, something changed. So that is what integrity needs to verify. They need to verify authenticity of that particular data. So is it the same? Did anything change? So if anything is altered, then the integrity of that particular data needs to be questioned. So for you to avoid this drama, that is why we have something called, that is where encryption comes in. That's when you need to have your cryptography process. So in this case, when you are sending out anything, it has to be encrypted in such a way that if I'm sending a data out to you guys, I will encrypt it. So when you receive the data, there will be a code that will be used. There will be a key for you to use to decrypt it. So when I say encryption, it means I am sending that data to you in an unreadable format. So it is when you receive it, for you to be able to read it, there is a particular code, there is a particular key. That key could be a form of token, maybe it could be a token, it could be a code that you would need to decrypt it, to change it back to English. Encryption means unreadable format. Decryption means readable format. Now, let me take for instance, your bank, when you request for bank statements, what do you usually observe when you download the file? What have you ever observed anything before? Please, I would like to ask. Has anyone made any observation before on that?
Yes, I've seen it before.
What do you say?
I said I've experienced it before.
Okay, so when you try to download your bank statement, what does it ask you to do?
It tells you to put in your PIN of your last digit of your account.
Yes, thank you for that. So that's to verify the integrity of that document. So for you to input that, just that our banking sector here is just, it's kind of, the system needs to be worked on, because most times when they ask to input the pin is always maybe last 4 digits of your account number, which is not really safe. Anybody that has the account number can actually put that and access it. But then for what they are trying to do is also for security reasons, you understand. So in this case, in case anybody even has access to your mail that you used to receive that particular statement, they will still be required to input pin. So that pin now, you said their inability, the inability for you to download that file without that pin is where that is the role of integrity. You need to verify the integrity of that file. So for you to receive that file, it's coming from your bank. Do you understand? So that means there is no um interception yet. Now, I want to tell you this. There's something called let me just use the word intercept. So that's middleman attack. So in this case, that's why it's also critical for you to always encrypt your data. In this case, let's assume that someone has been able to let's say someone has been able to break into your network or your system. So whenever you're trying to communicate, that person would always eavesdrop. That means that person will always have access to that, whatever information you are sharing. Now, let me take for instance, there are two people standing. Do you get? We are two people standing. We want to communicate. When Mr. A speaks to me, there is an invisible Mr. B in between us. Do you get? That is receiving. I am Mr. C. Mr. A is standing at my front and Mr. A is trying to speak to me. Before I receive whatever Mr. A is saying to me, there is an invisible Mr. B that is receiving that same thing. So that Mr. B has that access to do anything, maybe to change or to manipulate it or something. Do you understand? So that is man in the middle attack. So, but let's assume that when Mr. A is trying to speak to me, do you understand? Mr. A did not use a common language. When Mr. A wants to speak to me, Mr. A use let me say Mr. A uses a form of unreadable. Maybe Mr. A actually speaks to me in an unreadable format. So it will be difficult for Mr. B, that invisible Mr. B in between, to understand what Mr. A is trying to say, except Mr. B has access to that key, to that code. So it is when that invisible Mr. B has access to that code that he would be able to understand, to interpret what Mr. A is saying. If not, even if he has access, he will not be able to decrypt. So Mr. A would only give me that file and hide that Mr. A will only give me that file. And that file given to me now, I have the access to unlock the file, to decrypt the file because I have the code. Do you get? Mr. A might have communicated the code to me one way or the other, or I have access, maybe because I'm an authorized party. Do you understand? So he can do that. So that is form of integrity. You need to hash. So we call it hashing. Also, let me take for instance, you remember when you are typing your password, does it display? Whenever you type your password, does it display? Hello?
No,
Whenever you type your
That's
No,
good.
it doesn't.
type when
Good.
you are
So
yeah.
yeah. Did someone say something?
Yeah, I said that it will not display except you at the side of it just touch that. There's something you can touch. So
Yes, yes. So that's hashing. So as you are typing it, even if somebody is standing next to you, the person will not know what you are typing. That's the essence. That's the encryption, hashing. So that's I don't know if
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, please. Go ahead, please. Hello. Sorry, can we all hear me, please? Hello, can we hear me,
Yeah, I
please?
can hear it. I can
Somebody
hear
said he had.
it. Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, please.
Yes, we can hear you.
So I wanted to ask because you know encryption talks about confidentiality and hashing talks about integrity of data and authentication. So I was only trying to ask, okay, why carry out both processes? Why do you carry out both processes? Like you were talking about integrity of data now, that you should encrypt it so that the next person who's getting it
Okay.
can just use a key so it cannot be altered.
Hello, can you hear me,
So
please?
I was saying, can't you carry out only hashing?
I don't know. Am I the one
carry out
breaking or is the person? Hello. Hello.
Hello, ma.
Hello, can we hear me, please? I don't know. Is it my network that is breaking? Please.
I can hear you clearly. I don't know, but
Okay, the person asking question, I think maybe it got disconnected or something. Okay, so this is it. See,
connected.
inside. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah, I got
asking that.
disconnected.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're asking why confidentiality and integrity uses encryption, Abby, and hashing, right?
No. My question is, why carry out encryption and also carry out hashing? Why don't you carry out just one?
No. When you say encryption, what is hashing? Hashing is converting into an unreadable.
Yes, like a generic form. Yeah.
Yes. So I was listing examples. You understand?
Mm.
I was listing examples of why most of us. Why am I ever saying this? Most of us when we type our password, we wonder I am sure there are questions we have asked ourselves over and over, especially those who are not into cybersecurity or IT like that. I'm sure there are questions we might have asked ourselves that, oh, why this, why that? You understand? So the this ash or asterisk that you are seeing on your screen, is it in a readable format? No, I'm asking a question. The hashing, when you are typing a password and you are seeing dot or asterisk, is that a readable format? Is it something you can interpret?
No.
Okay. So if you can't interpret that, so that's what connotes, when we talk about cryptography connotes hashing, encryption. Do you get together? And they are interwoven, they work together. There is no how you call yourself a cybersecurity professional and you don't understand that, okay, whenever there's confidentiality, there must be integrity. Do you understand? Even if you give me a file, do you get? Even if you give me a file and the file, that even you don't even give access to a third party, an unauthorized party, doesn't still mean that I must not check the integrity of that file. I must check the integrity of the file to be sure. Because if anything happens, I am the authorized party you've given it to. So I'll be questioned, right? Because there's no unauthorized party. So they work together.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's clear.
Very clear.
Okay.
You can see that the code is somehow divided into two parts, left and right. Can you see? Yes.
And most cases, people compromise integrity. Like attackers now, if they have access to a particular file, you understand, they can bypass your IDS. You understand? They can bypass your IDS. That's your intrusion and detection system, and they will change the file configurations just to allow unauthorized access. Do you get that? They can do that. So that is the essence of this whole thing. Okay, you need to do your encryption, do all those things. You understand? Just for safety. Then we have the last one, called availability. So availability is let's say that even if your data is kept confidential and the integrity is maintained, it's still useless if you cannot access it. Do you get that? So now let's take for instance, we all have our money in our banks. Why is it that we have our money in our banks and there are days that we'll not be able to access our money? Do you understand? Yes. Nobody has been able to hack into my account, into my bank account. I still have access to my bank account. My bank account is still secured, but I cannot withdraw from my account. Why? Have you ever asked yourself that question? So your confidentiality is of no use if I cannot access it, if it is not available to me as an authorized party. Do you understand? So it means that your system, networks, and applications must be functioning as they should and when they should. So in Nigeria, in this part of the world, we are used to it. Banks will just send us a mail. They will not even send us a mail. Just wake up one day, you just realize that your bank is not working. The particular bank you're using is not working. You cannot do anything on the app. But they will tell you they want to do what's it called? They want to upgrade their system or something. And they will not even give you reasons. When they tell you they want to upgrade the system, there is no alternative for you. So you have to just manage that for a period of time. Do you get? So your bank will tell you that.
Yeah.
So that's availability. That's where availability comes in. So you are required to have access to it as that when you should. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So you as an individual, you have access to specific information. You must be able to consume that information when you need to. Do you understand? So that's how it works.
Yeah.
So let's say in an organization now, let's say there is a power outage and there's no disaster recovery system in place to help users regain access to critical systems. So in that case, availability is compromised. There are many times our banking system here have actually compromised the availability. But then what do we do? To understand both the right in the right on a right note, our availability should not be compromised. That's it. Our availability should not be compromised. You as an authorized access should have access to your data as at when due. So that's why in most cases, so to ensure availability, organizations can actually use redundant networks. So in cases like this, let's say now, even it happens in our networks, you can imagine. Let me even use a very good example. Our power grid here in Nigeria. You can imagine you wake up and you hear that okay, power grid has collapsed for days. There is no redundancy, and there should be redundancy. And when we say redundancy, what does it mean? It means that a plan B, let me say alternative, something we can fall back to when plan A fails. Do you understand? Let's assume that your room is flooded. Do you have any other room you can still sleep? That is redundancy. Plan B. So when A fails, what happens? Well, unfortunately, we don't have it yet. So once there's a power outage, let's say our what's it called? Our power grid falls. That's it. We just have to just maintain that until God knows when.
Can plan B also be called an escape route?
What do you say?
Can plan B also be called an escape route?
Yes, you can call it escape route. In network, we call it redundancy. In in cybersecurity, we said discovery, disaster recovery system. Do you understand? That's disaster recovery. So you are expected to have that. So that's the 3 goals of cybersecurity. Our CIA. So and that's just the thing. And in cybersecurity, we have cyber threat landscape. There are a lot of threats. So we have malware, we have what's it called? Business email compromise. Just mention it. I'm sure you might have heard of virus. What does virus mean? Yes, that's part of cyber threat landscape. So now, let me just briefly explain network hacking. I'll just end it there tonight. Then we'll proceed tomorrow. So what we say ethical hacking? Ethical hacking is the authorized and legal practice of identifying security vulnerabilities in a system, network, or application before malicious hackers. And when I say malicious hackers, those are the black hat hackers. Exploit them. You as an ethical hacker, your job, company may employ you that okay, come and work with us. Your job is to start looking for what is not lost in the system until you find one. So when you find one, you are expected to escalate it. Escalate it to the blue team, to the red team, and to the blue team. Those are the defenders, so that they can patch it before bad guys. You can imagine as you are looking for what is not lost on the system, there are guys somewhere also looking for the same vulnerabilities. So if they get it before you, they would escalate it. So they will escalate their privilege and that they go deeper. So that's where lateral movement comes in. So they will move literally into the system until they are able to gain ground and they can spread their wings. So that's why companies employ ethical hackers, call them pen testers, start looking for vulnerabilities in our system. So if you find vulnerabilities, escalate it to the blue team and let them defend before bad guys comes in. Do you understand? So we have black hat hackers. So we have black hat hackers, we have white hackers, we have gray hat hackers, we have script kiddies. So when you say black hat hackers, they are malicious hackers who break into systems for illegal purposes. So they are the ones that have been doing a lot lately. So they break into your system. So when they break into your system, it's for illegal purpose. And we have white hat hackers. So they are ethical hackers. So I believe we are all white hat hackers for those that want to go into this. So you don't do anything illegal. Then we have gray hat hackers. Gray hat hackers, they are hackers who fall in between ethical and malicious hacking. Do you understand? They are one leg in, one leg out.
Yeah.
You get. So, and we have script kiddies. Script kiddies are inexperienced hackers who use ready-made scripts for hacking. They are not experienced, but when they see any opportunity, they go for it. Do you understand?
Very well.
Okay. So, and if they ask you why is ethical hacking important? Well, ethical hacking is important to prevent cyber attacks, You are thinking like all these guys now. You are an hacker. They're also those black attackers are also hackers. So you are thinking like them. So you know what they can do when they see an opportunity. So you have to prevent cyber attacks. You also strengthen security systems. You know, when you are looking for things that are not lost on the in the company's database, you know, from there you get something. You are helping them to build you are strengthening the company's system. You know, just for them to know that okay, these are the things you are doing that could actually make your company vulnerable. So you are helping them. Also, you are also helping them with compliance. They have to meet security regulations. You know, you don't expect. So there's something we discovered. I think that was last year. That okay, I think Compro's website we saw people's data open to the public. So that is where you come in as an ethical hacker. Tell them, no, they are meant to meet regulation. On the norms, the rule is your data, your website must not, people must not visit your website and see people's your customers database. It should not be visible. It should be redacted. But then in most cases, some people, you know, they don't move. So some people just employ developers, just develop the website for them, and that's all. Do you get? Then also to protect user data, just as I mentioned. Do you understand? And if they ask you, so what are the approach? You know, you use a pen testing life cycle. You gather information, you find vulnerabilities. So when you gather information, you find vulnerabilities, you gain access. When you gain access, what do? Then you do your post expectation, that's you maintain access. So you cover tracks, you know. So when you do that, what do? You do your reporting, you document whatever you have, whatever discovery you have made. And on your ethical hacking journey, there are tools you use. You know, you use network and port scanners, that's like your Nmap, Wireshark for network scanning. You use your web app security and tools, such as your Bob suite, your SQL map. Also, you use Metasploit, Hydra. So those are for exploitation. And we also have password cracking tools, such as John the Ripper, Hashcat. You understand?
Thank you very much.
So, and you as an individual, to start ethical hacking, you are required to learn the basic of cybersecurity and networking. At least just having basic knowledge, you understand, so that it will be new to you. Okay? And we have different careers in network. In ethical hacking, we have career opportunities. We have pen testers, we have red team specialists, we have cyber forensic experts, we have SOC analysts, bug bounty hunter, and lots more. And they have laws. So you don't just go into people's system and start looking. You must be authorized to do that. If you are not authorized, you are not a white attacker. You are a black attacker. So
Sure, I get.
So do you have any question?
No question for me.
Any question, please? Okay, I'll stop sharing screen. So I want to hear from us. Any question?
Step by step.
Any question, please? Any question? I'm here. I'm listening.
Hello.
Yes. Yeah, proceed. I can hear you.
Hello.
I hear you first.
Hello.
Network.
So drop the question in the box, please. Sorry, can we all hear me, please? Can we all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can hear you.
Hello. Okay, somebody was saying something. I think somebody was trying to ask you.
Hello. Yeah, good evening. Hello. Hello.
Do you have any question, please? Hello, guys. Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me, please? Hello. Sorry, I'm not hearing anyone, please.
Oh, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Hello? Madam Ayo?
Hello, can you hear me, please? Can you hear me? Hello. Hello. Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Hello? We can hear you. Can you hear us too?
We can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you. Just talk.
Okay. So I was asking, do you have any question? Do you have anything we're not clear with? So that's all for tonight. So I will
Good
send.
evening.
We need to download ahead tomorrow. So
Hello.
do you have any?
So it is going to be connected to the network so that whenever you would be asked
Okay, since there is no question, so I think that's all from my end tonight. But if there's any question, you can always reach out, or probably I would unlock the group. So if there's any question, you can always drop on the group. Okay, is that fine?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, thank you all for joining.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Yeah.